Hi, Drew.
Hi, Anna. Did you bring what I told you to bring?
Yes, you told me to bring my bow, and I did. What do you think? Doesn't it look so good in my hair?
That is not the kind of bow I was talking about.
No, it is. You said in your text message, going somewhere special, pack your favorite bow. And I brought you one, too. I brought one with polka dots because I know that you like polka dots so much.
Okay, first off, it's gorgeous. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Here, put it in.
No.
Okay.
Because we're going to an archery range. I meant bow as in bow and arrow, not hair bow.
Oh, no.
We cannot shoot arrows with this beautiful polka dotted hair bow.
But what about mine? Mine has sparkles, and you don't know how long I worked to put it in my hair.
How far will it shoot an arrow?
Not very, but I'll look good doing it.
I will let you use my actual bow.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to wear this polka dot, though, because it's really not the look for an archery event.
Okay.
But you can wear your hair bow.
Okay.
And on the way,
okay,
let's talk about a story with bows and arrows and best friends from the Bible.
I know which one you're talking about. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. Even though I got confused, I still want to talk about this story.
Okay, great.
Let's go.
Let's go.
From the stories of Noah's Ark and Anna on the lawn, through the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. Whether you're new to this or an avid Sunday schooler, we'll learn about the Bible just like church,
but even cooler.
And we take what we learn and we use what we find to go into the world and let the light of God shine.
Buckle up, kids.
Minivangelism. It's time to go. Minivangelism. In faith we grow. Show.
Okay. I am really excited to go to the archery range.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've been practicing. I've been doing target practice at home.
Oh, I haven't.
That's okay. That's okay. You'll have the bow in your hair, so nobody will care about whether you can shoot because you'll look cute.
Exactly. That's all that matters.
Maybe I should wear the bow because I'm actually not that good. But maybe polka dots will help.
Yeah, I still have it. So just here, we'll try it on later and see if it works for you. But you brought up a really cool story. So we right now are talking about Bible Besties. Yes. And in our last episode, we talked about two girl besties, Ruth and Naomi. But today, we're going to talk about two boy besties.
That's right.
David and
Jonathan.
Right. And they are like the poster children for best friends.
Yeah, they're some of the best friends in the Bible.
Yeah, they really are. And they have just a cool story that the story itself is in the book of 1 Samuel, which 1 Samuel tells the story of like the prophet Samuel, but it also kind of pivots and goes into King Saul and King David. And it's just a really great story. But I want to know, you may not be confident in your archery skills, but are you confident in your songwriting skills?
I'm confident that I have fun doing it. And I did write a song about David and Jonathan. The things you need to know are that Jonathan is Saul's son. So Saul is the king. Jonathan is his son. Jonathan and David are friends. David works for King Saul.
Okay.
And in the story, you will hear that they are absolute best friends, but that their friendship doesn't get to be a happy ending. Mm-hmm. And so it's a kind of dramatic story. So it's a kind of dramatic song.
I'm excited. I want to hear it.
All right, here it goes.
Let's go.
What does this?
Saul was the king who sent for the boy, they said slayed a giant. So David he came in service to Saul, both strong and reliant. Soon rumors and claims called David the brave, God's chosen anointed. Give David the ring, they said he should be king, and Saul grew disappointed. But Saul had a son whose heart David won, and his name was Jonathan. As soon as they met, their friendship was set, but this was a problem. Though David's high scores in battles and wars should have gladdened and thrilled him, Saul's jealousy grew, and Jonathan knew Saul wanted to kill him. They were two friends side by side, and they looked up at the sky. They were true friends, do or die, but they had to say goodbye. When Saul had dark times, David's music and rhymes brought him comfort and bliss. But to David's fear, Saul picked up his spear, and he threw it, but missed. Jonathan said, David, don't lose your head, come meet me at sunset. Here's what I'll do, shoot an arrow to you, where it lands we'll decide it. My servant will go to fetch the arrow, I'll give him instructions. Listen out for my call, and know once and for all if you're safe from destruction. If I shoot it close, then you will know you are safe from Saul's knife. But if it soars overhead, that means Saul wants you dead. You must run for your life. They were two friends side by side, and they looked up at the sky. They were true friends, do or die, but they had to say goodbye. That night at a meal, David's appeal was the talk of the table. All of the while, Jonathan smiled, but Saul wasn't able. Saul's belly was stuffed, he'd had quite enough of these stories he hated. To Jonathan's horror, Saul bellowed and roared, I'm going to kill David. So the two friends met at night, and they looked up at the sky. The arrow soared so high, it was time to say goodbye. The two friends start to cry, no longer side by side. They were true friends, do or die, but they had to say goodbye.
Ooh, that song gives me chills.
Yeah, it's a dramatic story.
It does.
It's got some big feelings because friendship gives us big feelings.
It does. Have you ever heard of a troubadour?
Yeah.
They're like traveling musicians that
Yeah.
go around and they like tell stories through music. That's kind of what this song reminded me of. Like I can see this being played in like a dining hall for a king.
Yes. And I even, like, part of the inspiration was like flamenco dancing. Have you ever seen flamenco dancing?
Yeah.
And it's all about like friendship or love and whether the love gets to happen or not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like Jonathan and David dancing around, trying to be friends, but not being kind of allowed to because of King Saul.
Yeah. That's
So,
cool.
but the story happened in the song, but sometimes it's helpful to hear it kind of summarized in a speaking voice. So can you help with a summary of this story?
I can, yeah. So David, who we have already talked about in a previous episode over the summer. So David is the giant killer, right?
Yeah.
He is the one that fought Goliath, and he fought Goliath on King Saul's behalf. So this story happens right after the David and Goliath story. So David goes to King Saul, and he's like, it's handled. Goliath's not a problem anymore. And King Saul is like, awesome, you're great, you're cool. And David meets, while he's in King Saul's presence, he meets Jonathan, who is King Saul's son. And Jonathan like sees David and just has this like instant connection with David. Like, have you ever met someone and then you just knew like immediately, like, we're going to be best friends?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what happens with Jonathan. Like he sees David and he's like, bestie, like, let's go. And Saul is so kind of proud of David and sees how cool David is. He's like, you're going to leave your dad's house and you're going to come and live in my kingdom now.
And David gets jobs.
Yes.
And but he kind of has two jobs. One job is that he still fights battles with the army. The other is that he's also like the private musician, poet, therapist to Saul.
Yes.
And sings Saul songs that help Saul calm down, because this is a part of Saul's story where Saul's having a really hard time and kind of losing his mind.
Yes. And so Jonathan and David meet up one night, and Jonathan swears a covenant with David where he's just basically like, I know you're going to be the next king. I know that you are awesome. Because Jonathan is technically supposed to be the next in line for the throne. But Jonathan's like, you know, I love you as a friend, and I've got your back. And so they form this super connection. So eventually, like you said, David is playing songs for Saul. Saul does not like David. Eventually something changes. Saul gets very jealous of David, and he gets paranoid or scared of David. So one day while David's playing his harp, Saul throws his spear at David and tries to kill him. And so David goes to Jonathan and is like, hey, your dad tried to kill me. and he's like, I don't think I'm safe here. And Jonathan's like, well, let me go kind of like suss out what's going on with my dad. And at
My
first,
sus dad.
Yeah. And so at first, Saul's like, oh, that was just a bad day. David's safe. So David goes back and works for Saul again. He's playing music. He's doing his thing. Saul, again, throws the spear at David. And so David's like, Jonathan, I can't stay here anymore. Your dad's trying to kill me. And so Jonathan is like, well, let's have a plan. You're going to go out into a field and you're going to hide. And I'm going to go to dinner with my dad. And I'm going to kind of like see how my dad feels about you. And you're going to hide in this field. And if you're safe, you're going to hide in this field and I'm going to shoot arrows. If you're safe, the arrow will be close. If you're in danger, the arrow will go far. And I'll send my servant to go and get the arrows. I'll kind of holler at my servant and be like, hey, go, the arrow's close or the arrow's far. And if you hear my instructions to my servant, that's kind of the signal code.
Yeah.
So Jonathan goes to dinner with Saul. David's supposed to be there, but he's not. And Saul gets really mad about it. And basically it's just like, I'm going to kill David. And he tells everybody at the table, I'm going to kill David. And he actually ends up throwing his spear at Jonathan too. And so Jonathan's like, oh, dad's really mad. So he goes to the field. He shoots the arrows. He shoots 3 arrows and they go far, which is basically the signal to David to go far. So Jonathan sends his servant out, hollers the directions. And then once the servant kind of gets away, David comes out of hiding and he hugs Jonathan and they say goodbye. And they actually never see each other ever again. But just because they never see each other ever again doesn't mean that they don't stop loving one another. As a matter of fact, Jonathan, unfortunately, goes to war at the end of the book and doesn't make it. And David writes this beautiful poem in the next book in 2 Samuel, or recites this beautiful poem and beautiful song about Jonathan and how much he loved Jonathan. So that's also kind of something for us to remember, is that even if your best friend isn't close by, like, you can still love them. Yeah. So it ends kind of sad, but there's a lot. There's a lot in that story.
Yeah. And I think that like part of why we're doing this Bible Bestie series is to think about friendship. Mm-hmm. And this is a story about friendship from the Bible that helps us think through what's it like to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Or when things are difficult in a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Not because you don't love each other, but because it's not easy to be with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love this story.
I do too. So I am actually going to pull over right here because I want to talk to somebody about this story. I want to talk to my friend Palmer. Palmer is such a cool kid and he's really, really funny. And Palmer's in 4th grade. And Palmer is he's the definition of a good friend. I actually go to church with him and I've seen him with some of the other kids at church and he can be a really good friend to those people. So I want to talk to him about this story. And so while I'm talking to Palmer, I want you to try on the bow. Just,
okay.
Drew, trust me.
All right.
Trust me. Try on the bow And also make sure that the arrow shooting bow is ready for us when we get to the archery range, okay?
Yep, I can do it.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Palmer.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. Have you been having a good day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are here and we are talking about two Bible besties. What are their names?
Jonathan and David.
Jonathan and David. And do you think they're like friends, good friends, or best friends?
Best friends.
Best
Well,
friends.
even better than best friends, like amazing friends, like brothers.
Yeah, they've got like brotherly friendship. Do you have a best friend?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, what's your best friend's name?
Fabian.
Ooh, that's a cool name. So if you and Fabian were in this story, who would be David and who would be Jonathan?
Me, I would be David.
Okay.
And Fabian would be Jonathan.
That is so cool. I love that.
Because Fabian's never let me down once.
That's beautiful. I love that. What a great friend. It's always good to have like really, really good friends like that.
Because every time in the bus, he tries his best to find me.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. So we have talked about David before on this podcast. What is David most well known for?
Taking down Goliath.
That's right, taking down Goliath. And the story we're talking about, does it happen before or after he has taken down Goliath?
A little bit after and before.
A little bit. Well, it's mostly after. Yeah.
Yeah.
So mostly after. Yeah, the king stuff. But mostly after is when he meets Jonathan and all this stuff. So we've got this story. You've got King Saul is mad. You've got Jonathan, his son. You've got David running for his life. You've got arrows. You've got spears. You've got all these things. When you are reading the story, what are some things that make you curious? Like, what are your I wonder questions?
My I wonder questions. So, why was King Saul so mad at David?
Why was King Saul so mad? Like, why was he paranoid?
Yeah, why was he paranoid?
So do you know what paranoid means?
Super scared of something.
Yeah. So Saul was kind of like scared of David.
Yeah, because he didn't want David to take his place.
That's right. So David had already been chosen to be king. And then like after David kills Goliath, there's this huge parade and everybody says Saul has killed his thousands, but David has killed his tens of thousands. So everybody is saying like David is better than Saul. And so I think Saul is not just paranoid, but he's
Scared
and jealous.
Because he wants to be as good as David.
Yeah, he wants to be as good as David. And, David could easily just come in there and be like, get out of here. I'm gonna be king now.
Yeah, but maybe David could actually invite Saul back into the kingdom and live with him.
Yeah, like I don't think David was like out to take Saul down, you know? And like yeah, at one point later, like somebody even asked David, like, why don't you just kill Saul? And he's like, because he was also chosen by God to be king. So like I'm not gonna do that. So that's a really good I wonder though, is like why David's a good guy. So like why would Saul not just, try to be friends with him?
Yeah, like why at the part where he tells David to come into the kingdom and play the liar.
The liar.
Because he's lying to David. He literally gives it out. He gives it out.
Yeah, so a liar is a little harp, but you think that Saul asked him to play the liar because he was like dropping breadcrumbs? I love that. That's awesome. Oh, you're so awesome. So what's your second I wonder question?
My second I wonder question is how did David and Jonathan become friends in the first place?
Oh. How did David and Jonathan become friends in the first place? That's a really great question. What do you think?
I don't know. Probably because they met each other and they were like, we should be friends now.
Yeah. How did you and Fabian become friends?
we met each other, just like I just said.
Yeah.
We met each other and we're like, we should be best friends.
Yeah.
We know everything about each other. We're the same person.
So you just kind of vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what it says is like David goes before Saul. Jonathan's there, and he just has this like instant friendship connection with him.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I think it was just they vibed with each other, and like Jonathan knew that David was cool, like cool people. David knew Jonathan was cool people, and then like the more they hung out and the more they spent time together, like just this like deep brotherly love friendship kind of developed between the two of them. And I think that's super cool. And I think they like fought wars together and stuff. So, you know, like they hung out.
They did fight wars together?
I think so.
I didn't know Jonathan helped too.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan was a warrior. Yeah.
It was just super serious warrior. Like, I'm going to get you.
Yeah. So I think that, yeah, like spending time together, being kind to one another, like those are ways that we keep friends. But I think like making friends, they just vibed, and that's pretty cool.
Or they knew each other when they were little.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, they met because they met right after David killed Goliath. So
Oh,
they were
they did?
teenagers. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they met when they were teenagers, which, I mean, shows that you can kind of become friends with anybody at any age. Like, my best friend, I didn't meet her until I was in my 30s. So, you know what I mean? Like, some people are like find best friends when they're kids, like you have, and some people find best friends when they're older. And it just, yeah, it all kind of, people come and go in your life that you just vibe with, right? And like,
Yeah.
you'll meet more people. Like, I had best friends when I was a kid, and I'm still friends with those people, and as I've grown up. And so, yeah, so it's,
What?
yeah. And so you're going to do the same thing. And people that are listening, you have friends now and you get friends later, because that's just how the world works.
Everybody gets friends.
Everybody gets friends.
Only if you're a huge, terrifying monster.
Yeah, but there's nobody like that.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So do you have any other I Wonder questions?
Why was David chosen to be king?
Oh, that's a good question. Why was David chosen to be king? So you're right, because Saul was king. So technically, Jonathan should have been king.
Yeah.
But God said no. Saul wasn't really doing a good job. So we got to find somebody else. So why do you think David was chosen to be king?
Probably because he did something really good in the past.
Like
Really,
what?
really good.
Like what?
Like, he probably praised God and prayed to him every night and did anything he could to see Jesus or God
Yeah.
or do anything for them.
So David is described as a man after God's own heart. So he did have a really close relationship with God. Also, let's talk about the Goliath story again, because you know Saul was king. Did Saul go out there and fight that giant?
No.
Who went out there and fought the giant?
Jonathan. Oh, wait, no, not Jonathan. David.
David, right? So David was very brave. David, you know, did have a closer relationship with God. David, there was something special. And here's the thing, is when David was chosen. So you want to hear a cool story?
Yeah.
About when David was chosen. So Samuel was the prophet, and God told Samuel, you're going to go to this man's house. His name is Jesse. And Jesse had 7 sons.
7?
7 or 8, something like that.
Wow.
And so he's like, one of Jesse's sons is going to be the next king. So Jesse gets all of his sons and lines them up. And they're like big and strong and good looking and all these things. And Samuel goes to the first one, who's like this huge guy. And he's like, this is our next king. And God says no. And then the next one comes, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And none of them, God keeps saying, that's not the king, that's not the king, that's not the king. Finally, he looks at Jesse and he's like, do you have any other sons? Because he runs out. And Jesse's like, oh, I forgot. I got one. His name is David. He's out in the field. He's this little runt of a guy. And he's like in the field. He's a shepherd. So he kind of stinks. But I can go get him. And so Samuel says, cool, go get him. And so Jesse goes and gets David. And then David comes in and Samuel's like, there's no way this little guy is going to be king. And God's like, that's the one. God chooses the least likely people to do big things. All right, so going back to David and Jonathan, though. Let's go back to David and Jonathan. We like to say on Minivangelism that every story tells us a little something about God. What does this story tell us about God?
He tells us that David was chosen to be the next king.
Mm-hmm. And so what does Jonathan, though, so David's relationship with Jonathan, what do you think that says about God and who God is?
Wait, what?
So like in this story, so not the story of David being chosen, but the story of like David and Jonathan and their friendship and Jonathan saving David. What do you think that story tells us about God?
That God made them meet up and make them be the best friends ever and do anything for each other.
So you think their friendship was sent by God?
Well, no, they could have been friends by themselves, or it was sent by God.
Yeah.
It could have been both.
And so because of their friendship, what happens?
They save each other.
They save each other. So David is saved. He goes on to become king. And Jonathan's friendship is kind of what saved David, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this goes to show that friendship is very special. And what do you think So like
me and Fabian?
Yeah. Yeah. And so God sends people into our lives, right? That are good for us. Like our friends and our family. Yeah. That's a really cool insight. So speaking of people that are our best friends, I do this podcast with my best friend, Pastor Drew.
Yeah. Yeah, you do it every single episode.
And Pastor Drew thinks that he knows a lot about the Bible. But
yeah.
But I think we should try to stump Pastor Drew.
Stump him, stump him, stump him.
All right, so what are 3 questions that we can use to stump Pastor Drew?
Who was David married to?
Oh, that's a really good question. Who was David married to? Do you know?
So was it Jonathan's daughter or was it King Saul's daughter?
King Saul. So it was Jonathan's sister.
Uh-huh.
So David was married to Jonathan's sister. So that's okay. That's a really good stumper. I love that. So Jonathan and David technically were like brothers. Okay. So what is your second question?
What was the instrument that David used at King Saul's kingdom?
Okay. So in King Saul's court, he played an instrument for King Saul. So what instrument did he use? Do you know what it is?
The lyre.
The lyre, which is like a little baby harp. And then what's your third question?
My third question is, what were the arrow symbols?
That's right. So Jonathan shot some arrows, and they were signals to David about whether or not he was safe. So if an arrow was shot close, what did that mean?
That means he's safe.
And then if an arrow was shot far away, what did that mean?
That means he needs to run away quickly.
Right. And who had to go get the arrows?
David.
It was a servant boy.
A servant?
So yeah, so Jonathan would shoot the arrows, and then he would yell to the servant like, "Oh, the arrow's close by, go get it," or "Oh, the arrow's far away, go get it." And so like David was kind of watching for the arrow, but also listening for the like signal to the servant boy. So that's cool. All right, well, those are some really good stumpers. I think we're gonna stump them, and if you stump them, you get a free high five. So
let's hope.
All right. So what? So we always like to end Minivangelism on a joke. Do you have a good joke for me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What is it?
What did the computer do when he lost his boots?
What did the computer do when he lost his boots? I don't know what.
He rebooted them. But I've got an even better one.
You got 2? All right, let's go.
If you put a sweater on and you sweat, are you now the sweater?
I did. Those are 2 solid jokes, and I'm keeping them both in the podcast because those slap. So thank you, Palmer. I appreciate the joke.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming and talking to me today. All right. Well, tell Fabian I said hello.
Okay.
All right. And I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm back.
How do I look?
You look so good. I love it.
I feel like an idiot.
Yo, you look like a princess.
I don't know that polka dots are really my look.
They work with your complexion. Okay. Just go with it.
I guess the other good news is my bow is good and ready to go, and you'll be able to use it. I'll let you borrow it.
And we are going to look so good at the archery range.
I don't want to talk about that part.
Drew, this is what best friends do.
Okay.
They match at the archery range.
How'd it go with Palmer?
It was awesome. So we actually talked about Palmer's best friend. So Palmer has a best friend named Fabian. And he said that Fabian is the Jonathan to his David.
Nice.
Because Fabian's never let him down.
Oh.
And just they met. They like ride the bus together going to school, and they're just like really close friends. And so it was cool listening to Palmer talk about his best friend.
Absolutely.
Especially when we talked about the story overall. So Palmer had some really great I Wonder questions. So his first I Wonder question was, why was Saul mad at David?
Ooh.
Like, why was he trying to kill David?
Yeah.
Or like, what was making him paranoid?
What did he have an answer for his own? I wonder. What did he think?
So he thought it's because Saul was the king and David was next in line to be king.
Yeah.
So that's something we didn't really talk about earlier, is that by this point, the prophet Samuel had already told David, like, Saul's out. You're
Right.
going to be the next king.
Yeah. And so I think one of the reasons why Saul was wanted to kill David was because he was jealous.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way the Bible tells the story, there's kind of two reasons why people know that David's going to be the next king. First is that the Spirit of God has chosen David. Mm-hmm. And if the Spirit of God chooses you, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was part of how Saul was chosen too, but that the Spirit was moving from Saul to David. The other is that the people wanted David to be king.
Yeah.
Because David was so mighty in battle that the people started comparing David to Saul and saying David should be king. So a lot of it is jealousy. The other thing that's kind of wild in the story is it's almost like the Spirit of God, in order to choose David, chooses to make Saul jealous or help make him lose his mind. So it's almost like the Spirit is making the next king happen.
Right.
And part of the way that it's happening is that Saul is becoming a worse and worse king.
Yeah.
So it's like God is doing it, also David is doing it, also Saul is jealous. All of those things are happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even just like the people in the kingdom. Like it's Saul's own kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Like even Jonathan is like, I like this guy better.
I have some compassion for Saul.
Yeah.
That can't be fun.
No, because like in the covenant, Jonathan gives David his armor, and like that was kind of an ancient symbol of like if you're giving someone your armor, like you're pledging your like political allegiance to that person. So yeah, like even his own kids are like that one.
Yeah, I kind of get it.
Yeah. His second I wonder is, why were Jonathan and David friends? Like how did they become friends, and kind of what was it about their friendship that made it so special?
Yeah. How does friendship happen for you?
I just meet people that are cool, and then I'm like, okay, you're my person now. What about you?
I think it's kind of like that. It's easier to be friends with people that like the same stuff I like, and people who have character, like are kind to me and kind to others. And for me, like if you're funny in the way I like for things to be funny, then we're probably going to be friends.
Yeah.
And if you like, again, if you like some of the same stuff that I like that not everybody else likes, whether that's like music or the Bible or whatever, or like sandwiches,
or bows.
I don't think that bows are why we're friends. I think because we are friends, I am wearing a bow right now.
Yes.
There's a difference. Yeah. But in the story, it's almost magical. Like it's almost like God chose them for each other. It says like as soon as Jonathan saw David, they were like knit together. And I think sometimes that happens too. Like it can be pretty instantaneous. But but what was present is like love. Like they both wanted what was best for the other.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, that's why David survives, is because Jonathan loves him enough to tell him the truth about where he's safe and where he's not.
Yeah.
And kind of chooses to protect David rather than do what Saul wants. In order to preserve his life, Jonathan comes up with a code to prevent his own dad from killing his best friend.
Yeah.
So there's something about love that happens and then motivates the friendship to keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Palmer have to say?
Yeah, Palmer, so we talked about Fabian again, and I was like, how did you and Fabian become friends? And he was like, we just met one day and started talking, and then we never stopped. Like,
that sounds about right. That's a good description of a friendship.
Yeah, and I think that's just kind of what happens is, you meet people and sometimes you have a conversation with them and then you part, and then that was like, okay, well, that was a neat conversation, and if I never see that person again, that's okay.
Yeah.
But like some people, you meet them and you talk to them. I know like some of my closest friends, like I've met them, I spoke with them, and then it was like the conversation stayed with me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need to keep talking to this person. Like, I need to find another time to connect with them. And that's just kind of how friendship grows. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think that if anybody were in Jonathan's situation and they were not truly friends with David, then, I mean, Jonathan had every reason to not be friends with David.
Right.
Like, David was taking his place as far as who was going to be the next king. You know what I mean? Like, that's huge. Jonathan had every reason to be jealous of David, to want David gone, especially like in the beginning when Saul is like, you're going to come and live with us now and kind of be my son. You know what I mean? Like, Jonathan should have been jealous of him, but he didn't. He loved him deeply.
Friendship love is stronger than all that stuff.
It really is. Yeah. So his third I wonder question was, why was David chosen to be king? Like, why wasn't Jonathan? Because Jonathan's a good guy.
Yeah.
So like, why wasn't Jonathan? Why was it David chosen to be king?
Yeah. So what's fun about reading this part of the Bible is there's kind of two answers. One is we're told that David is the one who has a heart after God's own heart. Mm-hmm. So there's the language of the Bible is that David's heart and God's heart are friends.
Yeah.
And God notices that David trusts God, which if there's going to be a king, you want the king to be somebody who trusts God. God wants the king to be somebody who trusts God. Mm-hmm.
Especially the king over God's chosen people.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. A third, well, I said there's two, there might be three. Another one is that David was strong in battle. Like, he defeated Goliath, and he was a good warrior. And at the time, that's what the people wanted, and that's what the people needed in order to be able to survive in war. So he was like a good military leader, and that meant something. But the other part of the story that we see is that David is actually not the most likely person to be king. Yeah. When David gets anointed by Samuel the prophet as the next king, it's when Samuel goes to Jesse's house and asks to see all the sons, and David isn't even counted among the sons. David's off taking care of the sheep.
Yeah.
He's kind of the runt of the litter. He's not the greatest son, but that's the one that God wants. So we kind of get both that, of course, David is the next king because he's great. And we also get this version that, like, part of what God loves about David is that nobody else thinks that he could be king.
Right.
Especially when he's young. So we get both of those aspects of who David is. That God, yes, wants a good leader, but also God can make anybody a good leader, even the least likely of the family.
Yeah. And Palmer and I talked about that.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about how he's not the tallest, he's not the strongest, he's not the best looking, he's not any of the things that you would assign to a king.
Right.
Which is another reason, if you think back to the David and Goliath story, like, that's what happened. When,
big surprise.
Yeah. When he walked out there to fight Goliath was like, what is this guy? Why are you sending me this little dude?
Yeah. And I think part of what we're encouraged to notice is that that's the power of God.
Yes.
That's the power of David's faith in this God who has chosen him. That it's not that David's that amazing. It's that God has chosen to make him amazing.
Right.
And God has the power to do that.
Yeah. And so, speaking of God, I asked Palmer, like, where is God in the story? What does the story tell us about God? And he did talk a little bit about God choosing David, and how God chooses us to do things. But the other thing is Jonathan. God kind of shows up in Jonathan in the like deep love that he shows to David is very similar to the deep love that God has for us. But also, God gives us friends to help us when things are really hard. That was like
beautiful.
what Palmer said. That was his biggest takeaway, was that God gives us our friends.
I love that. Yeah. And another way of saying exactly what Palmer said is that like God is both like a friend and the source of friendship. Like that love between real friends comes from God and is what God is like. And that's something that I think we'll probably see in a lot of these friendship stories, that that Jonathan is both God's gift and to David, and Jonathan is like God to David, who loves and chooses and protects and honors even an unlikely person like David.
Yeah.
I love that. Way to go, Palmer.
Yeah, I know. He's awesome. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
But I hope there's one way in which I hope he's not awesome.
Oh, you mean he's going to stump you?
Oh.
Because he's going to stump you. Well, let's see. We'll see how closely you read the story.
Time for Stump Pastor Me.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You ready?
No.
Well, too bad.
Okay. Is this bow going to give me special brain powers?
Maybe.
All
I
right.
whispered secrets into it earlier. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Who is David married to?
Oh my gosh, Palmer. That's like,
In this story, who's he married to?
I know who he marries later. Who's he married to? Oh, he's married to Saul's daughter.
Yeah.
Her
Who's
name
Jonathan's.
is Michal.
Yes.
Oh,
Good job.
The power of the bow. The polka dot power.
Yeah. So she is married to Jonathan's sister,
Yeah.
Michal. Yeah. So there you go. There's one.
All right, Palmer. You're still cool.
Okay. What instrument did David play for Saul?
That one. So I want 2 tries.
No,
Because
you get. There is one correct answer, so you get 1 try.
the harp, the lyre.
Yes.
The problem is they're very similar.
Yeah, but they're not the same.
How do you know?
Because I looked it up, and because I knew you were going to answer harp, and I knew you were going to fight me on this. So a lyre is older, and it's U-shaped. A harp is triangle-shaped.
Lyre for those nerds that are curious at home.
Also, harp strings run perpendicular to the sound box, and lyre strings run parallel. It's not the same instrument. Thank you, kiltmaster.com. That was the first.
Kiltmaster.com?
That was the first website that came up when I did the Google search.
That is random.
It was on like Scottish instruments. But anyway, wrong.
Okay. Palmer, I feel like you and I should team up against Anna on this. All right, so David played the lyre, Lyre.
Yeah, and Palmer thought it was really funny that it was called a lyre. He was like, if Saul was making him play the lyre, he was basically giving away his whole plan. I'm a liar.
Excellent work.
Yeah, that was a great text-to-text connection.
Yes, it was.
All right, last one. I think you're going to get this. What were the signals for the arrows?
The first signal was, if I shoot it close, you can come home. If I shoot it, and the second was, if I shoot it far, you should run.
Yes.
Good.
You got that one right.
Thank goodness.
So 2/3.
Yeah.
2/3.
Yeah. The thing is, sometimes lyres are called harps.
Okay.
But I won't fight you on this.
No.
Because we're friends, and I want to be friends with Palmer too.
Okay.
So well done, Palmer. You get a free high five for stumping me.
Yes.
And anybody out there that wants to donate a lyre so I can learn more about it, drop it off anywhere where I can get it, because I would love to. And
Yeah.
I would love to play the lyre much more than I would like to wear this bow right now.
I am shocked you already don't own a lyre.
Yeah, I own a lot of musical instruments, but not a lyre.
Yeah. Okay, that's on the list.
Yeah. Liar, liar. My pants are not on fire, but I am wearing a bow.
Yeah, you are wearing a bow.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you again, Palmer, for talking with us. It was a really great conversation with you. So I mean, overall, I think just the reason we chose this story and the reason why I think kids should know this story is just because it shows how important friends are.
Yeah.
And we all, I mean, finding a friend, a best friend is like, it's like winning the lottery. Especially when you find someone that's not related to you. Like we have family members that are close, but when you can find, because Jonathan and David were like brothers, you know what I mean? Like if you can find a friend that's like as close to you as a family member, that's something that's super, super special.
Yeah. And in fact, I think that part of what the story tells us is that not only could you, but you are going to have friends that are like that. That it's part of how God loves you to give you people that love you that much. And if you can't name who that person is, God is happy to be that friend for you.
Yeah.
And later, Jesus ends up talking about friendship a good amount too. And one of the things he says is like true friendship, true love is the kind of love that will lay down its life for a friend. And I kind of think that's Jonathan's love for David is an example of that.
Yeah.
Jonathan doesn't necessarily say, kill me instead of David, but he does put himself between death and David and say, I'm going to try to get David out of this. And ultimately that's one of the ways Jesus talks about the love of God is that the love of God is the kind of love of a friend who will lay down his life so that you can live. And I love that, and I need that, and I've had that kind of friend, and even my best friends, I think God loves me even more.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say my friends don't love me. It's just like part of what the Bible tells me about the love of God is that it's even more than what we see Jonathan offer for David. It is like it, but it's like times 1,000.
Yeah. And I think it's good to remember too, like to find our Jonathans, but also to be Jonathans.
Yeah.
For people out there, for our friends and like loving our friends and, showing them that kind of stuff. And if you're a kid and you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know if I have a friend like this. Palmer and I talked about that too. Like some of my best friends now that I have, I didn't meet till I was in my 30s. You know what I mean? And then I have some friends that I was really close to in childhood or as a teenager, because Jonathan and David didn't meet until they were teenagers. And we're still friends.
Yeah. Have you ever had to say goodbye to friends?
A lot. I've had to say goodbye to a lot of friends because my husband's in the Army. And so we've moved a lot. And I remember when we lived in Texas, I had two really close friends, Maggie and Eric. And Maggie ended up moving first because her husband was also in the Army. And that was a really hard goodbye. And then my friend Eric, that was also another really, really hard goodbye. But then I had a third friend. Her name was Kaylin, and she actually lives here now. Yeah. So I still get to see her.
That's great.
But yeah, so I have had to say goodbye to friends, but fortunately, we don't live in ancient times, and so I can still send them reels on Instagram and talk to them on FaceTime.
That is good. That's one of the ways that technology helps with friendship.
Yeah. Have you ever had to say goodbye to a friend?
Yeah, I have. Like, I used to go to summer camps or mission trips, and I feel like every time one of those ended, I always had big feelings because there were people that I met there that we were going to go back to our own homes and live separate lives and had to say goodbye. But I'm still like, and that hurts and it's sad. But I would still rather have friends that I say goodbye to than never have had friends in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm still a fan of friendship.
Yeah.
Even though friendships change and end, I think they're still a gift, and it's because they're a gift that saying goodbye is hard.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing for us to remember too. If and when we do have to say goodbye to friendship or goodbye to anybody that we love, like the reason it's hard is because they loved you and you've loved them. And we can celebrate the love and continue to have the love, even if we're not going to be right side by side anymore.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So next time you're hanging out with your friend, remember the story.
That's right.
Next time you just feel a big feeling when you're around your friend. Remember this story. And remember that God loves us even more than our friends do. Yeah. And try and show that kind of love to your own friends.
And when you have a play date or sleepover or something like that with your friends and it's time to say goodbye, just know that when you have big feelings about that, it's totally normal.
Yeah.
It's in the Bible, and it's because you love each other that it's hard to say goodbye.
It is, yeah. So, parents, don't forget that we have a special companion episode called The Driver's Seat, where we talk about the same story without the kids in the car. That'll be your next episode up, wherever you are listening to this podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram or find us on Facebook. We are at Minivangelism. And if you have an idea for a story, if you want to tell us about your best friends, you can always send us an email to minivangelism@gmail.com. We love hearing from kids, and we actually have 2 other stories in our Bible Besties series that still need a special guest kid host. So if you are interested in being on the podcast, please reach out to us. And we are here. We are at the archery range.
I have to tell you something.
That you are going to wear the bow?
Because I've discovered that the bow actually prevents my hair from getting in my eyes. And I think I actually need it.
You did. See? It works.
I think I'm going to be a better archer while wearing a polka dot bow.
Okay. Friendly competition. We're not competing. We're not going to be ugly to each other. We're going to compete in love.
And if I shoot it way over the target, you don't have to run.
Okay. And if I shoot it really close, because I'm probably gonna. We'll still be best friends.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. Bye.
Bye.
Minivangelism and the Driver's Seat are hosted by Anna Burrell and Drew Colby. Theme song written by David Burrell and produced by Evan Setzer. The theme song was performed by David Burrell, Drew Colby, and Evan Setzer. Podcast, sound design, and editing done by David Burrell. Minivangelism and the Driver's Seat are a ministry of Grace United Methodist Church in Manassas, Virginia. For more information, check out umcgrace.org.
Seriously, what was that?